video that we're going to open this session with. Feast your eyes on this. I haven't seen it yet, but it's going to be great. That wasn't just theoretical. Thank you for joining us. This is called Empowered by Thought. And I want to introduce the man that was featured in that video, the one, the only, James Johnson. He's a former registered nurse and was in a rollover accident that left him paralyzed from the neck down in 2017. He spent 3 months in a medically induced coma before ultimately deciding to participate in an experimental brain-computer interface study. And he's now approximately one of a few dozen people to have been implanted with one of Blackrock Neuro's chips, known as the Utah array, which connects the brain to the computer, and you just saw some great examples of what he can do with that. So this has enabled participants to type, communicate, make music, draw, create art, operate robotic arms, and even move their own limbs again by decoding thought. This isn't just theoretical, this is real. So first question for James, as a way of the audience to get to know you, introduce yourself. Where are you from, and how long have you had your implant?
Hello, my name is James, and I'm from California, United States, and I was, like she said, I was involved in a rollover accident, and, excuse me, I sustained a C4, C5 spinal cord injury, and of course I totally lost the use of my body movement from my chest down. And I remain paralyzed in my hands. I'm not able to close my hands. Back in 2017, 18, I was approached with the opportunity to participate in this project to have implants placed into my brain. I have 2 implants. One is in my motor cortex, and the other one is in my parietal lobe. The 2 implants, or Utah arrays, are surgically placed onto the gray matter of my brain. And what those microchips, what they do is they pick up the neural activity in those particular areas, and from those neural activities, we're able to pull those the activity of those neurons, feed it into a decoder, and from that, elicit an algorithm that allows us to place those algorithms into real life devices, such as robotic arms, drones, and even the ability to control a moving vehicle.
It's amazing. So what was your decision process on risking having brain surgery? I've had brain surgery. Hardest thing I ever did. It was that or death. I had a brain tumor. What made you make this decision?
Well, my background, again, was that of a medical professional. And so I had worked with spinal cord injury patients, brain injury patients. And so I was quite familiar with the risks involved. However, I decided to go with it because once I came out of my accident, I was very depressed. I thought that I really didn't have much left to give. And when I was approached with this opportunity, I kind of just jumped at it because that's who I am. I've always been the type of person to give back and help people. So this was the only way that I knew how, where I can get back into that role again.
That makes sense. So I've heard you say that it feels very intuitive to use. And can you describe what that is, how you imagine when you're completing a specific task, and how does it feel, and how long did it take to learn?
The best way I can describe it is when sometimes people ask me the same question, how do you do it? What are you doing to move that object, right? And because some people, they really can't wrap their heads around it. Is it magic? Is it telekinesis? And not just simply say, okay, think about your ears, right? And then try to move your ears. And I asked them, what just happened with that process? And so
I picked up my hand and moved my ear because it was easier.
No, I'm talking about with your thoughts. So what happens is that your tongue automatically, instinctively goes to the roof of your mouth, and you try to push your ears. So that's kind of what it's like for me.
Is everybody trying that? It's not working. The ears aren't moving.
So that's kind of what it's like for me. I'm just pushing.
That's amazing. Okay, so I know it's amazing. You're painting, you're driving. That's another form of freedom. Is there another video queued up to show you're driving a car?
As a matter of fact, there is. Now, in this video that we have next, I am actually driving in a car 2,000 miles away from my location. So this is over Wi-Fi that I'm driving a vehicle on in a parking lot. And then later, we end up driving on the test track called Imp City. So if you could go ahead and play that video.
We're just going to do a series of demos now in which James is going to remotely control the steering wheel. James is in Los Angeles, California, or close enough to it, and he's now controlling a vehicle that is in Michigan. And now, James, turn left.
Okay, that's good.
How you feeling?
Feels pretty good. Controlling a car with my thoughts.
It's so cool. And maybe tell us what you're trying to do as you do it.
All right. I'm gonna go forward. Slightly to the right. And slightly to the left.
Good. There you go. Perfect.
Nice.
And even further turn. That's a very nice turn. There you go. And pointing straight back. Lap number 3.
Wow, that was beautiful, James. Very smooth.
Thank you.
He's gonna whip it. Oh,
Oh. Yeah, James, you're already hired as driver.
Thank you.
You have no idea, James. This is so long in the making, and this is really, honestly, this is a moment like sort of first man on the moon. Nobody's ever done that. This is
That's awesome.
unbelievable, unbelievable. Never expected this to happen.
Wow, that's amazing. So I want to bring in Christian here, who is a legendary investor who started multiple multi-billion-dollar companies in big pharma, and as I understand it, and then also has made a huge investment in getting this technology into James and many other people, and that's where we are today. But now we want to sort of switch gears and talk about tomorrow. It's amazing what James is doing, and I bring James into this too. What do you want next? But I think given this time, we're going to bring this together. And what got you excited about doing this? And thank you for doing it, by the way. This is amazing, transformative for everybody.
Welcome. Meaning, first of all, thank you to James. First of all, thank you for coming, because it was like not an easy ride. It's obviously more cumbersome, but I was very happy that James took on that adventure, and hopefully you're enjoying it and getting a little bit of positive stuff out of it. Meaning, I think it's easy to explain what excites me, because that's so freaking cool. Meaning, that's like, I think, the forefront of technology. When you really like, a lot of things we're doing at Blackrock Neuroscience, which is one of our portfolio companies, is what people, if I tell it to people, they're like, oh, you're either kidding me, or like, oh, this is maybe happening in 10 years, or maybe, oh, this is magic. No, and it's real life science. Maybe one more example, what we can already do with today, and then I come to tomorrow, with chips in your brain. So another patient we have at Blackrock Neuro has ALS. I don't know, maybe some of you know, ALS is like you unfortunately gradually get locked into your body because your muscles stop functioning. And at the very end, unfortunately, also your face muscles stop, so you can't even speak. So these people who have ALS in end phase, they lie literally in a bed for the rest of their life and cannot communicate anymore in any shape or form with the outside world, but are mentally fully there, which is I think, one of the most horrible diseases. And we have one patient who has a chip from Blackrock in his brain, and he's thinking, and the computer is speaking for him in more or less real life speed. So you can have a normal conversation with a person who before had zero chance to speak with the outside world, which is obviously for this person everything, because suddenly he can communicate again. And like 20 years ago, we would have called that telepathy. Now it's reality. And maybe we need another 10 years, and then we're going to be able to send the thought from one brain directly to the other brain, because that's another product we're working on, is a hearing device where we're picking up sound and sending it directly into the brain. So that's just like, so it's already amazing. What do we want to do? At the moment, or today and for the next years, with chips in the brain, we will be able to solve many, let's say, real-life problems, real-life diseases, issues, which so far were deemed uncurable. ALS, being quadriplegic, whatsoever. But my big vision is that this is just the beginning. I'm a very big believer that the brain, the entire brain, is the final frontier we have and want to understand. And the next step will be like a general enhancement. Because once we have a device we really understand, we can also think about why stop in sort of curing something, why not enhancing something? So we really already today, and that's maybe 10 years away, thinking about more memory. Like if you have a computer, you always add memory chips, yeah, and make it sort of more powerful, yeah, and why can't we have that as human beings? We already have in primates, we did a very simple test, is like, can we just switch on and off the circadian rhythm? No jet lag anymore, yeah? So there are many, many real-life applications beyond severe illnesses, and what I believe where we're gonna be in 10 years plus, and that's obviously my hope as an investor as well, that Blackrock will be the next Apple. Why? I can see thousands of applications running on our brain brain implants. So because you won't have 1,000 implants, you want one implant, but then you want many, many software companies working on applications based on the chip you have in your brain. I give you an example with a very big software company. We're discussing what is if you sit here or you sit in a meeting, you sit actually in an interview with your new potential employer, and he's asking you a question and you don't know the answer. Yeah? Today you have no chance. You can't pull out your phone and Google it because he's looking at you. Maybe in 10 years from now, maybe already in 8 years, you're gonna tell yourself and say, hey Google, hey Alexa, hey Siri, can you tell me briefly what XYZ is? And then you hear the answer in your brain because you don't need to touch your device anymore, which will be maybe at home. You just communicate mentally, as we already have. But again, it's not a dream, it's there. We just need to make it as a mass product. You will be able to communicate with the computer, with your device, with the internet, and directly hear the answer in your brain. So that's maybe 10 years from now, and maybe 20 years from now, I think the ultimate goal, what we want to provide, my favorite movie of all times, because it comes so close to what we're doing here, and I don't know who has seen it. In Saudi, I hope a lot, because you're such a gaming-interested nation, is Ready Player One. I don't know who has seen Ready Player One. Okay, some. So we should be able, in round about 15 to 20 years from now, to create hyper-realistic worlds directly in your brain. For a very simple fact, if you all think for a second, why do you believe that you're here in Saudi at FII watching a panel with us three? Why do you think that? Yeah, you think it's a fact, it might just be an illusion. Yeah, we don't know who is putting the illusion on, but the only reason why you believe that you're here and watching us is A, you see us, B, you hear our voices and you hear the noise. Yeah, you might smell the coffee or whatever is served here. Your feet are feeling the ground. Everything which tells you that you are here is the summary of your sensoric input. And what we want to do in the future, at the moment, we very much focus on reading information out of your brain. So James is giving commands to a car and driving the car. But at the same time, we're working on, which is a tiny bit harder, but we already proven it with hearing, that we can put information back into your brain. And in the moment we will be able to completely create sensoric input in a real-life way, we will be able to completely create hyper-realistic worlds which are non-distinguishable from reality, because I personally believe that this is already a world, yeah, we have put on ourselves. Yeah, because my last sentence, like, what you gonna do? Like, if I go to everybody of you and ask, what you gonna do if I give you the opportunity to be in a hyper-realistic computer game which is not distinguishable from reality? Everybody of you gonna pick either a time in history, or maybe somebody wants to be a wizard in Lord of the Rings, whatever. You're gonna pick your favorite character, and then you're gonna play the game. Yeah? And then you come out of it, and then you say, oh, I wanna play it again, because this time I wanna actually change a little bit the curse, whatever. And then the next time you say, you know what, I was now the Pharaoh of Egypt for 10 times, now I wanna be the slave. Yeah? So you're gonna go through multiple characters, yeah? Normally people start with being the king, yeah, and then someone they wanna be the peasant. But at the very end, you're always gonna come out of the game and you're gonna say, wow, this is hyper-realistic, but I still know I'm Christian, yeah? And that doesn't make it fully realistic, because yes, I was in love with somebody, but I know it's a computer game. Yes, I was fighting with somebody, but I know it's a computer game. And at the very end, you're gonna go to my colleagues at Blackrock and say, the final thing I need to make it hyper-realistic is you need to switch off my memory of who I am, so because just then I can be a fully immersive character in the game. And truly, that's what I think has already happened. We're playing an immersive game, we forgot who we truly are, and we're gonna play it again. Yeah, but we're gonna be able to put that on in real life, I think, in 15 years from now.
So 3 questions. How long does this current chip last? Because there's an issue that some other companies doing brain implants have. And will you agree that this technology can only be used with consent and preserve mental privacy for anybody you sell it to? Or how are you going to deal with the ethics?
So, first question, how long do you have it already? You have it?
I've had it for 5 years now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right.
So, and I think our oldest patient is 7 years.
Right.
And do you have any issues with it?
I haven't had any issues with it. As a matter of fact, we've developed a software that actually extends the life of the chip, because over a period of time, the chip does degrade. Even with my own, my chip at one point was picking up maybe about 60% of the performance from when I first started. However, the software that they were able to do allows for the missing data to be filled in
Nice.
so that we can actually extend the life of the chip. So now that we're utilizing that particular software, I'm able to get back to about 90% of the control I had when I initially started the project.
All right.
So far, like, duration is seems not to be a problem. To the privacy, meaning we obviously need it. It's like, like any technology, like when we had emails, like we had to learn like how to deal with privacy issues. Like I would say it's an issue, but it's not a hurdle.
Okay. With that, thank you very much. Thank you, James. Thank you, Christian. And thank you, the audience.
Thanks for
and
joining.
I think you'll be around for questions.
Yes, of course.
All right.